We'll sit here. Good morning.
Morning.
Should we do an entire podcast where we just pet the animals for an hour and a half?
I think so.
They would like it.
I think so.
Anything you want to talk about this morning?
Not really. Do you have anything?
Oh, we could talk about cannabis as medicine, mushrooms as medicine, 5-MeO-DMT as medicine, and entheogenics broadly as medicine. We could talk about unschooling. We could talk about living off grid in Mexico. We could talk about divesting from capitalism and barter economy and the difficulties of value exchange based on unhealed practices in a divesting from capitalist society. We could talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We could talk about gut healing. We could talk about conspiracy theories. We could talk about
Huh.
we could talk about trying to record a podcast when we're not super into it, but we want to be consistent and follow through on our word. We could talk about your show,
What show?
the one you're watching.
Oh.
We could talk about no-see-ums.
I love no-see-ums.
What are no-see-ums?
No-see-ums are tiny little bugs that you can't see that bite you in the jungle at nighttime. They're really lovely.
Mm-hmm. None of this is probably going to pick up. We probably have to talk louder. Maybe
Probably.
start.
Probably.
Do you want to scratch it?
I don't care. I'm just not that talkative. That's my...
Yeah, you're not feeling well. And
Not
you're
feeling well.
not in a super great space. Is it just physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional? Is it spiritual? Is it all of it? I know you're just not super happy with me.
I don't know what I am. I don't know. I'm just not happy today.
So should we not do this?
Sit and have coffee. Just real life. CBD. Dabs.
We don't have any joints. Do we need joints?
Over the joints. Try some We don't have a calculator.
What would you like to calculate?
I want to calculate how many people you could help off of 1 acre of hemp. So it's about 7 to 9 liters.
Okay. You have to talk a little louder.
7 to 9 liters.
Of what?
Distillate per acre. In 1 liter, there's 1,000 grams. Our bottle is 2,000 mg, so it's right around 2 grams per, well, it's a little over because of the cannabinoid content. So you're looking at 500 bottles for 1 liter. You have 5, you have 1,000, you have 2,000, you have 3,000. You have somewhere between 4 and 5,000 bottles of CBD.
Of 2,000 mg.
Of 2,000 mg CBD.
Mm-hmm.
How many did I just say? 5,000?
Mm-hmm.
Right around 5,000 bottles?
Yeah.
The average person, and if you're just taking it for like basic maintenance and rest and recovery, you're on about realistically, you take about 2 bottles a month. I think if you were really on a good plan,
Uh-huh.
and you could, if it was affordable. So that's 2,500 people.
Right, per acre.
Per acre.
Okay.
Is that a year or a month?
That was a month.
That was a month.
You were hitting it heavy.
Oh, is it?
Because in a 2,000 mg bottle, there's 60 30 milliliter doses, but depends on like anywhere from a dose to 4 times that per person.
Yeah.
Is what a human should really supplement.
Should be supplementing.
Uh-huh.
Right? Yeah, totally right. Cool. So
where were you at? That's CBD?
No, that's
not.
THC. This
Okay.
is CBD right here.
That's okay.
Be the same for that, if not
Right.
more, you know?
But I just was. You just start carrying around a.
No, this
little...
is my cap because I don't have a real cap, so I use this as a cap.
I see.
For my smoker.
Okay.
This smoker I got after I was burned because I lost my other pipes in the fire. But anyways, that's another story.
Would you like to talk about that? I think that's where we're at. So I think that's where we're at. I think you have a little fire processing to do. It's been coming up a lot lately.
It has been coming up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how many people. I want to know in the town that we're from. It's around 15,000 people.
Right.
You could dose every one of them. How much would it take in a year?
How many acres?
Uh-huh. So if that 2,500 was for that, and that was even really heavy. That's a pretty supplement. That's a good monthly dose. You have 2,500 people per month, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that what it is? So you need.
Well, that's 6 acres.
6 acres
per month.
Per month.
Times 12.
6 times 12 is.
So 60
36,
times 10 is 60,
70,
and then 72.
72.
Mm-hmm.
72 acres. That's not a lot.
No.
72 acres.
To dose the whole town.
To dose the whole town.
Right.
Men, women, children, healthy, sustainable.
Yeah, but how many people are consuming CBD right now?
I don't know, I'm out of the loop since...
Maybe like less than 8% of the total population.
Absolutely less than 8%.
Maybe 4?
I think it'd be close to...
4 to 8%.
4 to 8%.
I haven't done...
THC.
There's a company that does all of that.
We haven't touched
that with a 10-foot pole. So you want to talk about cannabis as medicine, specifically start with CBD? Is that where you're at?
I just want to talk about how much of a shit show it is.
You're just a little edgy today. So
if I'm going to be edgy, I might as well be edgy about something
productive. So what do you mean by a shit show? Like
well,
that?
It's just a shit show. So if you just that quick math that we did, it's only 70, 76 acres to dose a full community. Like when we were back when we were managing farms and we were in the hemp game, like we were at 30 acres like solo. Like we had our little farm and we managed like 6 other farms. We had 30 acres of hemp. That's like half of our community, and you know our community is all fucked up from all the farm chemicals and horrible food. Special needs children are through the roof. Everyone's health, gut health, mental, body, emotional, spiritual health is to the shitter. When you look at like how much that could help the whole,
Right.
when it's still, it's still not accessible. So it's still not accessible at $80 to $100 a bottle.
Right.
You know, when it's like we know we have this endocannabinoid system in our body that's a chief regulatory system that really fucking controls and balances all of our systems, when we're not even recognizing that, and then we're not even putting two and two together of like what we can just go out in our yard in our field and grow ourselves to then supplement our body.
Right, and that was our big tragic downfall, was trying to go big, really, because like it's not necessary when you do the numbers. It's not really like it's big, we were trying to be a sustainable organic permaculture but big thing, and those two things are counter.
Yeah, they don't go together.
They don't go
play
together.
together. We didn't know.
No.
Like, and what we thought was because we didn't know either. Like, getting into the game of like, what we know is we're from the Midwest. We come from farm country. So
Right.
you farm, farmers with thousands of acres. So it's like the R3 or 2.7 at our farm, and then managing the other for a total of 30. Like, before it started, it was like, ooh, that's not that much. And then once you get into it, you're like, oh, this is way more than you're ever gonna sell. you're ever gonna have a consumption for.
Right.
So then it's but now is what has happened is there weren't sales. There was such an influx of farmers around the nation through new hemp programs that came online that there was nowhere to go with it. Everyone lost their ass.
Yeah, there's a little bit more history there. There's not accounting for the ongoing gray aspects of legality, which made a variety of players not willing to participate in order to normalize it and make it feel safe and get it out in the masses that it should be as a basic supplement, vitamin support. It's been highly pharmaceuticalized and kept there, and they've done a really good job continuing that narrative that it's dangerous and problematic. We didn't account for, I think, the degree of already flooded market that was coming from China. And so, there was already that. And then, yeah, I think that it had the potential to become well produced at a lower price point, but the regulatory framework that was hindering that to make sense for the farmer is a problem. And so generally farms are subsidized, and there was no subsidy program because of the grayscale of hemp. And so there's really no balancing of the innate costs of farming, whether it's small or large, to get the price point down enough to have it be something that people can afford to buy consistently.
Yeah.
And that's purposeful. That's all
absolutely
part of the
purposeful, yeah, it's part of the
pharmaceutical plan to continue to keep CBD difficult to cultivate, difficult to process, and difficult to sell.
When it's so easy
When it's super
to
easy.
do all those things, it's one of the easiest plants to actually cultivate and process and use. It's a really interesting thing.
So, our biggest conundrum that we had that just wasn't working is we either needed to have started very, very, very small,
Yeah, which we should have.
which we should have, or we needed to be one of the 6 companies in the world that have gazillions of dollars that are,
which is impossible.
which is impossible.
Yeah.
And so we tried to do something that was in the middle, but we did that because of, the Grow Tray system, which had application in small to large context. And so we were trying to maneuver the hemp project to facilitate visibility for the Grow Tray system project, which was marketed specifically for cannabis but has broad appeal for food and was always our goal.
Yeah.
But I think that that's definitely one of the shadow components that you and I have to continually work through is the conditioning and the needs, wants, desires that we have to do something big and monetarily successful and visibly successful. And, we were raised in an environment where stardom and achievement and capitalist success are highly valued. And I would say most certainly there's a lot of shadow work that you and I both have to do in how much we continue to make choices that are guided sometimes by those conditioned.
Well, let's be honest, we're
aspects.
still falling into the same trap right now.
Right.
Like what we have done is we've tried to divest from capitalism. We don't agree with the system. We've been trying to do our own thing. Here we are, right back, not in the same things, but
Mini.
It's
A
this. It's a
mini
microcosm of
toe
what
dip back
we were
into the
dealing with
situation.
back there.
But then on the other side, it's how do you put food on the table when you divest from capitalism? And it's possible in a community that's you have a support network and
But they are not there. The man has done a really good job of crushing all these support networks.
Well, and what we've seen is the support networks of divested capitalist communities are ironically either built on a foundation of people already having capital.
Yeah.
So they can ironically afford to then live without money. Or there seems to be a real lack of inclusivity or willingness to embrace people looking to we're really struggling with some unhealed aspects around community building.
Communities are long gone, and I hate to feel this way, but it's to say that nobody's inclusive. Everyone, it's a fight to stay alive. This is how I feel with society in general. Is the family's been split up, everyone is upside down in rent, bills, children, life. We have and once you lose the family, you lose the community because you're the foundation of community is family. So there is no more community. Everyone, it's so cutthroat in the world, and it's been all the industries we've been in: food industry, service industry, cutthroat business like cafe industry, startups, all of it. This healing community we're in it's so cutthroat. And yeah, so to me, it's just there's no community. We've lost that. They've done a really great job of taking away community. Maybe it's me and my mindset, but it's I don't know where community is to go. We've tried. Nobody's there. It seems to do the same thing or to support in any way. And so we've tried divesting from capitalism. We've tried the barter, and it doesn't work. We haven't been able to succeed yet in our practices and trying something new. It's been super hard for having an equal energetic exchange for goods and services. And so, yeah, it's just like, how do you do it? And I'm struggling right now of keeping
So,
a better outlook on it
absolutely.
when
Yeah. And you're struggling because fundamentally, right now, you feel like we aren't providing for ourselves in a way that is enough and sustainable. And so, whenever fundamentally your basic needs are not being met, you're going to feel unsafe and that's going to have a very particular worldview. So, right now, because of where you're at, you have a generally slanted worldview towards feeling unsafe and negativity, therefore, sort of fight, flight, freeze. I would say you're kind of in a freeze with a little bit of fight.
I've been in the freeze.
Right.
Now I want to fight.
Which is really good. So, that's the first step. So, when you're in the freeze, you usually have to go through a flight or a fight in order to get back up to the top of the polyvagal ladder of feeling safe and connected. So it's required. It's a lot for like me as a partner to hold space and watch and then like absorb and try to like know where you're at in the stages and know that it's just a phase and that we'll get out of this phase and we'll get back into the top of the ladder and you're going to feel safe and you're going to feel connected and then things are going to flow and we're going to continue to provide for ourselves in a more and more like adequate way, which historically, if you look at where we're at, we have been able to do that more and more in more adequate ways. But there's setbacks, and those setbacks become very, very frustrating. And then we look at the patterns of where we're at and what we need to do. And connection is required. And so community is required. And it's really frustrating when you don't feel connected and you don't feel like you have a sense of community, or when you feel like the community that you're connected to doesn't see you fully, doesn't understand you fully, doesn't fully understand the situation that you feel that you're in, and that perhaps is also needing you in ways that you can provide, but that they're not able to provide back right now. And then the question is, are they ever going to be able to be reciprocal? You know, mutual aid is a reciprocal nature. It's just like partnership. Sometimes you're sick and I hold the load, and sometimes I'm sick and you hold the load. And sometimes we're both sick and we're fucked. And sometimes we're both doing really well and we're doing really well.
Yeah, I don't see that in the community. Like I just don't. It feels very one-sided to me in the community broad standpoint of holding each other up. You
Yeah,
know,
so I would say, as your wife who sometimes tries to get you there through the way that I get clients there, which is to see this on your own, I would say that when you get in this particular freeze and fight, there are some serious inner child wounding of loneliness, of isolation, of having to do it all yourself, of having to take care of your parents, of not being parented, of not being held up by the systems. Like you were failed, and you were
absolutely
failed
that's
on
true.
every level. And the truth is that you are you're kind of like the beacon of shining light of failure of our system. And then ironically, like I'm not, but at the same time, I struggle because the system itself is inherently super fucked up. And so, like, it doesn't matter how many macro traumas in your PTSD you have compared to how many macro traumas in your PTSD you have. We're all sort of complex post traumatic stress because we are inundated in the last how many generations of
Multiple.
macro and micro traumatization. So I love you and I'm holding space for you in this, but you have a very particular pattern of when you don't feel safe, you immediately go to I am and the world is. And your I am is like, I am right and the world is fucked and everyone sucks and no one is here for me and no one sees me and I'm alone and nobody understands and nobody's as smart as me and nobody's this and nobody's that. And I do too. And we all do. And so it's not me saying this about you individually, but it's natural. It's part of the natural process of becoming, feeling unsafe and feeling disconnected. So the way that we usually try to get through this is to identify in your present moment how truly unsafe are you and how truly disconnected are you versus how much of this is coming from a past historicity of feeling unsafe and disconnected and being connected to your series of core traumas. And the truth is that we are safer right here and right now and more connected right here and right now than we probably have been in 6 or 7 years.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm not in the flight.
Right. Because that's when shit really hits the fan for you.
Is when I get
You're
flight.
a fleer.
Yeah.
And then you're usually a freezer and you really don't like to fight.
No, I really don't. At all.
Right. So who you choose to fight with are the people that you feel safe enough to be contrary with, like me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I do the same thing. And many people do the same thing. So it's identifying where are you at on this ladder, this polyvagal, like, do I feel safe? Do I not feel safe? And then if I don't feel safe, where am I at in this ladder? Am I so unsafe that I'm in freeze and I can't do anything? Am I kind of unsafe and I'm in fight or flight? Or have I gotten to freeze because I've been fighting and I've been fleeing for so long? And how do I get back up to the top of the ladder, which is I feel safe and I feel connected? And so usually then it is connecting to your body and connecting to your co-regulating network. And then doing a little bit of that investigating of how much of where you're at right now is shit that you need to work through from your past, that you need to not be responding from your past. And we do that by actually scanning the body, and something will ping, and there will be an age, there will be a thing, and it'll say, hey, deal with me. And it may be 3 or 4 or 5 things to get out of the rut that you're in. And sometimes you need medicine to like help you with the rut. But if you're not doing the basic body work and the basic dealing with the past stuff, and you're just trying to do the medicine to just like set the bags down and not look at them. No, I'm not saying that you do. I'm saying I'm just preaching right now.
Okay.
But you do it a little bit. You don't really like to go wrestle with your past. You prefer to disconnect from those activations. And that's where you and I are very different, and that's where some of the clients we work with are very different, where they desire to disconnect from the activations from the past courting instead of sitting with those and honoring them and feeling them and giving them the time to process and actually, otherwise they're still there, you're just disconnected from them.
Well, I have to push back a little bit on that because we went through this a couple many times over the 14 years of our marriage. With that though, so yes, my upbringing was very turbulent. I was in quite a few institutions. I got the privilege of talking to many psychologists, going over my past and doing all that stuff many, many times. So when I'm not saying I'm I'm not affected by my traumas in my life, but I'm saying is to how many times do we need to talk about it? So
But the
that's like,
difference is talking versus going in and actually identifying where they're held in your body. And talking in your mind and going over the
I get
story in your mind and telling that story over and over is very different than getting to some really compassionate truths in your body.
but with that being said, like I've came to these compassionate truths many, many, many times. And so then it's, I'm sorry, but it's like, how, like, sorry, I go back to it. How many times do we have to go back and do this? Because, like, I'm 44. I've, I've talked about outside of therapy. I've talked about, I've processed, I've done work in areas, in my traumatic areas. How many times do I need to go do
Until it
that?
doesn't affect you anymore.
Okay. So then what if it has to always be your past childhood traumas?
No. So
So
eventually you work through a good amount of your past traumas, and then eventually it is some understanding of basic like ancestral just like
get there.
history and
Totally. So
past life history, and then
totally.
there's just sort of like cultural energetics as well. And it's like it's not, you do the work until you don't have to do the work anymore because you're fully serving yourself in this world. And to me, it's like if you are
That's a tough one. In
feeling
this
fully
world, that's like a
served,
tough like so to say that in this
right?
world where you're gonna feel like
Yeah.
that's fucking impossible.
So then we're always doing the work because there's always work to be had. It's just like your house. Your body is your house. And
Yeah,
you got to
yeah, I
clean your
get it.
house every day or every 2 or 3 days. And if you don't clean your house for a week, it takes a lot longer and it's harder. And if you don't do it for a month, you're super fucked. And so, like, it's, you know, but you just disagree.
I don't disagree, but I just feel like it's always from you. It's always put on me that it's I'm always turning like via plant medicine or something like I don't deal with like any of it.
No,
That's
I
how I
didn't.
feel.
Right, but that's not it at all what I said.
Okay, well, that's how I feel. And I do plant medicine sessions like once a year.
No, I
You
wasn't
know,
implying that
I
you
know that, but
overuse.
this is what I heard. So
Okay.
this is how I feel. What I heard is that and I don't so that doesn't resonate with me. I don't want to feel that way because like I don't feel that.
Sure.
And
So,
then just like last night, so like I sat up, I did a body consciousness session. All right, what's going on? Where is it? All the things. And I don't get I don't get the answers or get I don't get it. So I can get to a certain point and then it doesn't resonate with me. You know, like I maybe I have to have somebody do it with me or but it's like I've been in so many sessions that I'm just confused. You know, like I don't know. So yeah, then I'm frustrated because it's just like this, yeah, whole
so
work thing just doesn't.
Right. So we're in a loop that we've been in many times, that when we are not working, when we have a lull in our work, when we are not generating financial revenue, when we are not adding to the safety and security of our house, you, it's not you, we as human beings, when we do not feel safe, when we do not feel connected, when we do not feel creative, when we do not feel valued, when we do not feel seen, when we do not feel heard, when we do not feel any of the things that are physical core needs or emotional core needs, we revert to very particular negative perspectives on all of it. So I know, and including how we even hear what people are saying when it's not what they are saying. So I don't think you have a problem with how you use plant medicines. I think that plant medicines are very important when people are stuck, because being stuck for too long, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, equates to death. I mean, if we want to be really dramatic about it, not moving equals death, moving equals life. And so, if we need to utilize any degree of medicines to get us unstuck from a situation, and the medicine works to get us unstuck from the situation without causing damage to self and damage to other, there is zero wrong with using the medicines. And then hopefully we have other tools to do the depth work after the emergency, to not return to that same loop at the same degree. And we're eventually going to return less and less to the same loop at less and less of a degree until it's simply no longer there. So you're definitely in a bottomed out kind of place. And so, yeah, you can't connect to this work. And then that makes you wonder what the fuck we're doing for a living if you can't do it. And if you don't believe in it. I would say that it's much like the conversation I had with you about gut healing, that like there's no quick pill. There's no antibiotic that's going to deal with the sinusitis. There's no quick pill to deal with healing ourselves fully, especially when we have experienced the level of trauma that we have experienced in you specifically. And so it's slow and it's hard, and sometimes you're totally disconnected and offline and none of it makes sense, and then other times you are fully riding the wave of safety and connection. So sometimes it's remembering those times when things have been going well, and how you felt, and what you thought. What did you think about yourself, and what did you think about the world? And who were the people around you helping you to feel that way? Or what were you doing to feel that way? Or what were you doing once you felt that way? So simply reconnecting mentally to what does it feel like when, what were you doing? So like, when was a time that you felt safe and connected most recently?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
You can't name a single time in your life that you felt safe and connected.
Um,
Some people can't, because some people have never felt safe and connected. And the truth is, we had the same question with a client, and I produced like this whole video of showing that we are conceived in fear. We are birthed in fear. We are raised in fear. We are told, no, you're wrong, you're bad from the get-go. There is addiction, there is value capitalism, there is denial of self and denial and denial and anger and fear from our conception to now. So the truth is, most of us have never felt fully safe and fully connected because of the state of the world. That's fair, super fair. When have you felt a little bit more safe and a little bit more connected?
I feel safe and connected usually here with us and the family.
Okay. And what are you doing when you're here and you feel safe and connected here at the house with the family?
Eating food.
Eating. And what else?
Just being a family.
Okay. And we haven't done that. We've been
No, we haven't done that.
we've been going and going and hustling and blah-de blah-de, and we haven't been home. And there's been tension around food because of the desire we have to do a gut healing, because quite frankly, you're not physically feeling well and mentally feeling well. And I'm riding the like not great, not bad wave right on the middle. I'm just surfing along on could do much better. And the kids are like at más o menos as well. So food is like an issue because you're not feeling safe because we're making different decisions in eating and you don't want to, and you don't feel good about it, and it isn't nourished, it doesn't feel good to you, right? So it's a huge issue. Like food is a huge issue for you. So like when you scan your body and you're like, where's my resistance to feeling good about nourishing myself with amazingly good for me food, where does it ping?
Pings in my wallet.
Okay, so I agree. So like it pings, but like where does it ping in your body, the wallet? Where does it ping in your body that it is expensive to try
Right
to...
in my right back pocket. My right butt cheek. That's where it pings.
Mm-hmm. Because you have never seen it not be expensive to try to go on a gut healing journey.
Yeah, that's where I just don't know how it's doable.
Okay.
So.
And that's also super fair because, again, in our society, we have limited access to safe and nourishing foods.
Yeah, it's a grip of money.
It's a grip of money to try to eat
And then we're going to
clean.
4 people do it. So yeah, that's a real...
So it's also a grip of
interesting
money to go to the clinic,
Absolutely, yeah.
which we've had to do in the last 8 weeks, which we never do.
Totally.
And we have a kid that needs a dentist appointment.
Totally.
And like there's just like, so to me,
The dog needs his arm chopped off.
Yeah.
Kid needs a dentist.
Yeah.
And
And
like,
so
I don't
like,
even know how. Yeah, it's just like I don't know.
but at the same time,
How we
if we
equation
don't
works.
pay now to heal our gut, we're going to pay later because we haven't.
I totally get that. This is the poor man's reality.
Right.
This is why poor people are sick and perpetually sick. Is because we don't have food, we don't have health care. We have to make choices of living instead of taking care of ourselves. This is so I don't.
Yeah. I see that we can do it, and I see that we've done it in the past, and we've never not done it. And right now it's hard, and it isn't super fun because it's hard and it's scary. But now when we look at like present day moment and history and who you are and who I am and who we are, and despite all of the bad, rotten, icky things, we're still right here we're still alive. Our children are still fundamentally way more healthy than they could be. We are still way more healthy than we could be. But when you're stuck in freeze or you're stuck in fight or flight and you only see the negative, it's impossible to have a worldview of the positive, which is that we absolutely can do this. And we will be better for it when we've done it, because I've done it before. And I know, like, I have done the full thing, and I've done it poor and without you and with people around me that thought I was batshit crazy and were supportive to a point. But like when you're fully invested in, and I'm fully invested, and we have a friend here willing to be fully invested, it's like not hard actually. And the money part is really the hard part for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always in this world that we're in. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's my
And so then we have to sit
trigger
down and
about
we
it.
have to
Yeah.
make hard choices about what we're spending money on and not spending money on again. And we have to
Totally, but like, okay, I see that, but like we don't spend money on anything.
but we do. We this last couple of weeks we've been going places and doing things and jacking in and this and that and all of that, and it adds up. And so we have to make decisions of like, this is more important. It's more important to stay home, to not go, or to be selective, to not eat out and invest all of that into food here. Like, these are choices that we make if we want to get out of this loop.
Okay.
It's hard and it's sacrificial. And there's serious energetics to feeling like this is like what we just did, the cannabis dinner for someone that is struggling with cancer. And they're doing a ketogenic plus diet, and they're alone, and they are the most social person, and nobody is there for them. And so they hosted a meal to bring their friends, to show them you can eat bountifully this way and you can come. And she said at the table, I need you to come be with me. So we have to honor the energetics. I mean, we have to honor the energetics of like feeling lack or feeling not full or feeling this or feeling that. And so, like, the way I do the gut healing is feeding us a lot of food. And then that can feel overwhelming from a financial standpoint. But it's overall not the most expensive food ever when and if we really sit down and do it. Celery is one of the least expensive things to buy at Costco. Broth is cheap and you get the meat. Teas are cheap. Cruciferous vegetables are way less expensive comparatively. Local seasonal fruit is way less expensive. It's just that you have to eat more of it to feel full, to accommodate the cravings for the things that you're replacing. And then that goes away after a while. It takes about a month to get over the cravings and to get into a rhythm. But if we don't start, if we stay stuck or we fight it,
Yeah,
we're
no,
fucked.
I see all this and I know all this, but it's the fact. I don't know. Right now, I don't know how I can't see getting there financially. Like it's like it is such a far stretch for me right now. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get through it. Some magic will happen because it always does. But it's like that. It's a lot. So, anyways, um,
But I don't know what to do for, we know this. We know this with our clients is that, like, I can't unstick you. I can love you and I can support you and I can, like, whatever, and I can try to see where I'm triggering you and where I'm part of the problem. And I can do my best to limit where my unhealed tendencies are in the situation. But I can't get you excited to try this challenge of where we are right now and to be in a different place from where we are right now.
No, it's a tough sale right now because like financially, work wise, like we're at the bottom. We're at the bottom. We're at a bottom dip. It's slow. I We don't have a pot to piss in, and so to yeah, I'm scared to change up of our eating habits to go. Yeah, I know all the food we eat this way anyways. It's just more and more of it to So it's just like that's where I'm having a hard time seeing this equation work. And what gives me anxiety is until we're busy, until things like we come out of the dip, like I
Yeah,
just I don't
I
know how
understand.
we're gonna we
Yeah.
drop 1,000 pesos on celery a week, so it's like that alone. So it's like
So
that's
a bag of celery costs the same much as a bag of pinguinos.
totally.
And a bag of celery feeds 5 people celery juice in the morning, and a pinguinos feeds you cancer.
I gotcha on that. I understand that.
Okay.
But cool, let's do it, man. Let's absolutely do it. I'm super excited. It brings Osmos in, and you know, you get to go to the vet on Wednesday, and then we're gonna go to the dentist next week, and let's do this. Like, let's go. You know, I'm off sugar. Like, I don't need sugar. Let's do it. And then the mat is gonna heal, and it's all gonna be great. And then,
So the part that is hard for me is when we get busy. We've seen this before. When we get busy and we're not at our physical, mental, emotional best going into becoming busy, we have trouble sustaining that. And the kids get sick, or one of us gets sick. And so there's a pattern of, like, if we don't take this time when we have the time to focus on our health, we get busy, and then shit hits the fan from, like, everybody doesn't handle being busy well. And so I see the pattern, like, it's a
impossible
it's an
equation.
impossible equation. But not doing anything isn't doesn't math. So it's an impossible equation. However, doing nothing doesn't math. And then that's really where eventually you have to sit with it to realize that you have to do it, or you don't. And then the consequences of not doing it are whatever they are, and we've seen those consequences multiple times. And then we've also seen what happens when we do it, when there's more physical, like when we feel better and we have more energy and we are less sick and what we're capable of. And I know you can't see it right now, so that means, We always say when someone can't see it, they need LSD. Right? So you want to turn this off and go do some LSD today? If that's what you need to see it, then I'm down. Because, yeah, when we can't see what we're doing or why we're doing it, then of course, what's the purpose? So it's going to continue to be friction between you and I because I can see it and you cannot. And so I'm going to keep trying to do it, and you're going to continue to be frustrated about it. And so then I either need to see how it's not the right time, or you need to see how it is the right time. And that's kind of where we're at, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Because I can't do it with this much resistance. We talked about this yesterday. I simply can't. I won't. Well, we won't do it, and that's fine. But I absolutely positively cannot do this with the degree of resistance that there is around it right now. And then to do it on my own in our household has been the ongoing struggle that we've always had. One person trying to heal their gut in a family is unfair because a family is a unit and a family shares a digestive system and a nervous system, and it's a unit. And so for trying to do this on my own for so long, it's unfair. So we either do it together or we don't do it right now, and we do it when you're unstuck. So I guess we'll figure out if we're going to do it or not do it, and if you're going to be stuck or not stuck in this for a while, and go from there. And I'm going to have more grace and compassion for where you're at because we've been really butting heads, and I don't want to. I don't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it may just have to be something that I let the dying horse roll around for a while. And stop kicking it.
Well, that's a good talk.
Real life. You wanted to sit down and have real life.
Real life. All right.
Okay.
All right.